I told y'all we chilling today, right? All right. Welcome to session number 194. Of the Morning Journal. I am your host, and my name is G. I got that. I hit Essa with that pause, and she's like, "Oh, there's no way I'm gonna make it." Yeah, this is session number 194, and today we're going to be talking about mapping resources. That's going to be the overall theme, and a little bit of behind the scenes. There was a time where I was kind of prepped up for the whole week in terms of prompts, and then I could just kind of flip through and decide which ones I wanted to use on a given day. But here lately, it's like down to the wire, baby. I don't know what we're going to be doing until like right before we get started. Alberto says, "Are you playing the piano?" I'm making it sound like I'm talking and playing the piano, right? Because I'm like pausing at certain points like I need to. I'm just familiar with the song. This is a very familiar soundtrack to me. So no, I'm not playing the piano. That would be pretty dope though, right? Imagine. But yeah, I think it's I think that I wake up and I'm like, man, what are we gonna talk about today? And there we go. So we're gonna be talking about mapping resources. But before we get into that, this is Ernst by Sven Lindvall and Daniel Friedel. I hope I'm saying their names right. I'll put it in the chat. But let's go ahead and check in real quick and see how everybody's doing. We like to take the temperature a little bit, I guess you could say. So let me know, quite simply, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you sitting right now in your experience? Right now, I feel blank on a scale of 1 to 10. So you can put a number in there and maybe an adjective to give us an idea of the best word that describes your current state. So Noble Ancient says, right now I feel super psyched, 9 out of 10. Abby says, emotionally, I think I am like an 8. Physically, I've been sick for like 2 weeks, so I'm giving myself at 3. I can definitely relate to that being sick part. I know there's a lot of illness kind of going around, as many of us know. I know I'm just today starting to feel fully like myself again. So, and it's amazing how much our mind, the state of our mind affects, or the state of our body affects the state of everything. So Esso says, I feel creatively blocked by my stress. Creatively blocked by my stress. That's not a great place to be. I think that a lot of times when creativity needs to be on demand, it kind of changes the game a little bit. It becomes less playful when we become aware of some stakes involved in the creative process. So we need some approaches and strategies to help us work around that. I know you're just getting back into school and just getting back into that that kind of production environment. Ironically, the project is about play. Yeah, that is ironic, right? We're supposed to be talking about play, and I can't even get right with that. I'm in my head about that. So, creative blocks. As I look through the list of questions, I think there might be a few things that can help you address that, I think, as I'm looking through the things that I kind of set up for today. So we'll see. Alberto says, right now, I feel like I truly have a can-do attitude, straight on 10. Alberto coming in with them flames like, yo, I'm just going to infect everybody with my positivity right now. And we definitely need that for sure. Got my cousin Richard with the fist up in the chat. Appreciate you for stopping through, cuz. We just checking in and let us know how you feeling this morning. So wants some of that excess energy, that positivity. We're gonna radiate that through our experience this morning as much as we can. All right. So I guess if I had to put a number on it, I'm probably sitting at ready. I feel like ready and relaxed at about an 8 out of 10. I feel pretty ready and relaxed. All right. So I want to kind of bring us more, even closer or deeper into our current state in our present environment. I think it's important for us to be here, be present. I think a lot of times we are kind of split between a lot of different places. It's rare that we are fully present and engaged and tuned into the moment. So we're going to do another check-in, and this one is going to be in an attempt or with the goal of helping you be grounded in your current space, in your location. So let's take a look at this one. And if you haven't given a rating on your experience, please feel free to continue that conversation as well. I'll keep an eye on it. And if I don't see it, other folks in the chat will see it. There's always a lot of side conversations that are going on, which are really a unique part of the experience. So feel free to keep it going. So let's take a look. Where are you right now? Where are you right now? And how does it feel to be there? Where are you right now? And how does it feel to be there? So this can be literal, just the space that you're currently occupying. Or it can be sort of symbolic of the space that you are occupying along the journey that you have undertaken. So where are you right now? How does it feel to be there? Alberto says, hey, I'm laying in bed right now. I don't know, you got that day off or you just still, I guess it's still early for you. You probably still maybe have a minute or two before you got to get up and get at them. Sigma has joined us. Welcome in, Sigma. Nice to have you here this morning. Let us know, where are you right now? How does it feel to be there? So we can look at our physical space. We talked about environment yesterday. So there are things that we can do in our current environment to make it feel better. Noah says, I'm feeling super strong. I'm feeling strong and super creative. And it feels amazing. And so it's like, must be nice. Must be nice. That's I'm trying to get like you, my guy. It's that thing where saying must be nice is just like a backhanded way to say congratulations. Oh man. Yeah, it must be nice. Abby says, every time I hear someone say it must be nice, I think of Hamilton. Okay. Yeah. Noble says, I have more than enough positivity to share too. So we're gonna get you out. We're gonna get you situated in here if it's the last thing we do. So Sigma has also been sick, but is back. I'm glad to see you again. So where are you right now? How does it feel to be there? I got a feeling that some of us are firmly in our own head, and it doesn't feel great to be there. You know? The head in your head is probably, I think we assign a lot of credit for creativity. Like we kind of locate it in our head because we're thinking about our brain doing all of this and, you know, all the amazing things that we come up with, the ideas. It feels like it's coming from our brain. But, you know, that's not even the most important part of where your creativity lies. Your creativity and ideas and intelligence and all those things that we use to shape our experience, most of them are in our head for real. They are all over our body. They are in our environment. They are in the space. We don't use just our heads to think. We don't use just ourselves to think and create. We use everything around us. It extends through our whole body, through our movement in space, through the connections that we have with other people. So a lot of times when we feel blocked, it's because we are too reliant too heavily on our head and not tapping into all of the resources that we have extending beyond that space. So Alexis is here. Welcome in, Alexis. It's great to have you with us this morning. Right now, we're talking about where you are and how it feels to be there. I am fidgeting a little bit with my chords. Old Pony is here. Welcome in, Old Pony. Esso says, this topic is mocking me. You know, that's why you here, Esso. You come in to get a good old talking to keep you going along your path. I remember when I think we met SOK in the midst of preparing for exams. And all those late nights full of panic and, you know, and here you are, you know, you're back at it again and, you know, you're about to complete that chapter of your experience. And I'm excited and grateful that we've been able to be along with you for the ride thus far. Thank you so much for the likes, Alberto, Old Pony. We're starting the conversation just by thinking about where we are, and then let's see what we can do with that. If you notice, whenever you go into, if you go into a mall that you've never been to before, there's like this map of all the different stores, and it doesn't mean anything until you can find a little dot that says you are here, right? So finding out where you are is kind of the first step in trying to get where you want to go. Accurately plotting your current position. You have to do that before you can navigate to anywhere else. So Abby says, physically, I'm in the recliner and it feels mwah. And emotionally, I'm proud. My baby is learning new things. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of beautiful new experiences coming up for you. Saying Dada yesterday. Yeah, those first words, that increased mobility. Yeah. And it's gonna start getting crazy. But I know you're here for it. I know you're there for it. So Abby, how old is your baby now? I feel like I met you like right after your baby was born. So it's really beautiful. It's like we experiencing a lot of each other's life, and for the folks who've been coming here for a long time, we like watching each other grow, experience new things, and that's really cool. So 7 months old. That's what's up. Love that. All right. So are we ready to get into the main part of the conversation today? Speaking of people with new babies, Britt just came in. Hey, Britt, welcome in. We were just talking about Abby's baby turning 7 months yesterday. I don't know what you got. Your baby's like what? Just a couple weeks now, right? I don't know if Eli's listening in as well. A week? Yeah, just 1 week. Yeah. So that's beautiful. All right, folks. I mentioned, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be talking a little bit about mapping resources. I think that a lot of times we don't fully appreciate the resources that we have at our disposal. When I say resources, a lot of times what comes up for folks first is like financial resources, like, that's money. And of course that's important. That's the currency that we use to exchange for a lot of the other things that we need. But I think it's important to broaden our understanding of what resources truly mean and to have full appreciation of the resources that are at our disposal. Because you may not have a lot of money, or you may have some money. I don't know what you got in your pocket. Ain't none of my business. But in addition to that, or maybe instead of that, in lieu of that, you have some skills. Skills are resources. You have connections. You have the sort of the relationships and the connections and the social capital that you've built up over your career. People that you can bring together to get things done. That's definitely a resource. You have creativity. You have your track record of solving problems and finding solutions to challenges that you can lean on. That's truly a resource as well. You have time. Maybe not as much as you would like, but you got some time. Maybe you have attention. Everybody has attention that is being allocated somewhere. You got knowledge, things that you've learned through your unique experience thus far. We got Tree in the house, y'all. Speaking of creativity and all of that, we got Tree in the house. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us this morning. So yeah, there's all types of resources. Faith is a resource. Like your optimism and your belief can be a resource that you share with others when they don't necessarily have the confidence that things are going to work out. So it's important to have a broad view. Like your very presence is a resource. So we're going to think about sort of the full scope of the resources that we have at our disposal. And, we're going to take a look at how we are sort of investing those resources. And, that's kind of what we're going to do. Warrior says, right now, I'm in the kitchen. How does it feel? Good, because I'm getting food. Yeah, you got to be in the place to do the thing that you need to do, right? There's definitely a time and place for everything. And the kitchen seems like a good place to deal with food situations. Lowly Needles is in the house. What's happening, Kaloli? Right now, I'm laying in bed with Eli. It feels good to be here. I imagine. I don't know how much sleep you got. I know that can be a little bit of a problem. But I'm glad that you are there and that you are here with us kind of listening in. If you haven't slept at all, I imagine you might be getting some sleep here shortly, which is absolutely cool. All right. I really appreciate y'all for checking in and let me know where y'all are at. You know, I think that our physical space, our perception of our progress through our journey, all of those things matter in terms of orienting ourselves. We're talking about mapping our resources. Tree says, I'm finally in bed, but anxious about tomorrow. Tree is anxious about tomorrow. So what is it that's on the horizon for you tomorrow that has you feeling anxious? So right now I'm mentally pumping myself up. Everybody pump your fists in the chat for SO real quick. The paper airplane. To the left whenever you're typing. I guess it's the button where you send. All right, so okay, so I see Tree's news is about, you know, your dog and the vet. So I know that your dog has been sick and you're waiting on that news. All right. Love and support for Ollie. We love our pets and our ESAs that also take part in our experience here. All right. Yeah, so I can understand why you feel a little anxious about finding out. Okay, so we're talking about mapping resources, talking about where we are right now in our experience. Of course, wherever you happen to be, you also happen to be here with us right now for Morning Journal Session 194. If this is your first time here, if you're listening in, we do this Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. It's a lot of really cool folks in the VIP with us. People we've been growing together with throughout, the 194 times that we've done this. And, we've been through the ups and downs together. And I appreciate everyone for sharing their life with us here in this experience. The conversation today is about mapping our resources. So we're going to get ready to get into the first prompt that sort of addresses that. It's kind of a doozy. I know it's kind of wordy, but we're going to work through it together. Keeping in mind that we are talking about the full range of resources that we have. And let's just kind of take a look at things. So the question is, what is one essential thing that you have underinvested in? Think about all the resources that you have, the different types of things different types of resources, whether it's financial, attentional, time, creativity, all the different resources, however you describe it. What's one area of your life you feel like, well, I haven't really put as much into that as would be optimal, So that's the first part of the question. What is one essential thing that you have under-invested in? that might have something to do with where you are, maybe not in your physical space, but in your, in terms of the other goals or other pursuits that you have undertaken. Even though it is true that, we have choices that we can make in terms of how we allocate our resources, there are also some outside forces that might curb our ability to invest in the things that are most important to us. So one essential thing that you have under invested in, Hampter is here. Welcome in, Hampter. Thanks for joining us. So Noble says technological research for graphic design and adding skills to my already varied repertoire. So I feel like you haven't really put as many resources as would be required into the technology, the technical aspects of graphic design. Britt says, I've lately underinvested in myself. Haven't put as much time and energy into yourself. You could rely on family more, but you don't. So there's a there's a relationship situation there that may not be serving the purpose that it could. Pandora is here. Welcome in, Pandora. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here. It's always nice to see you pop in. Kaloli says, I need to invest time to myself and my health. So when we notice these things, the second part of that question kind of comes up. What are some specific ways that you can invest more? I think in general, we have a sense of when things are out of balance or when things are not necessarily optimal in terms of the way that we are using the time, money, attention, creativity, all the different resources. We can tell when it's not balanced well, but the more specific we can be in terms of how we can address that imbalance, I think that gives us a greater opportunity to address that situation. Esso says, I haven't been invested in my time in exercising and doing my ritual is wake up and work. Yeah, just rolling right into like all the stuff that you have to do without setting the space and time aside for taking care of yourself. Maybe it's preparing a nutritious meal or setting aside time to breathe and move your body. I think those rituals are extremely important because what they do is they establish you as the main character in the story. If all you do when you start your day is jump right into other people's agenda, then how is it that you are the main character? You're just being pulled around. So you set aside that time for yourself because like, okay, I'm driving this story here. I get to make the choices. So, specific things that you can do. You might know, I haven't put enough time into this. How can I fix that? How can I show up, as the best version of myself to deal with the things that are going on? What resource do I need to put into my self-care? Time for sure, attention for sure, being present for sure. Sometimes people make small monetary investments in their self-care by, having some, maybe you got a skincare routine and you got some great products that you use for that. Or maybe there's a specific beverage that you enjoy making for yourself. And okay, this is something that kind of sets me up. So looking at the resources that you have, what investment can you make to rebalance that situation? Self-care is very important to mental and physical health. Restoration and healing are as important. Sometimes sometimes we don't necessarily recognize what's missing until we need it. So there's a lot of there are a lot of situations that can come up in your life that reveal gaps. Like you don't know what you're missing until it shows up as a need in your experience. So it could be, you might be facing something that it reveals some things to you. It's like, okay, well, maybe I need to do something about that. All right. Let's see here. If we're ready, we can go ahead and go into the next prompt. And just a quick reminder, if you're in a VIP especially, you can always swipe the chat over to the right, and you feel free to screenshot the background if you want to come back to questions that might be useful to you to revisit. Maybe you want to go a little bit deeper into the conversation. Always remember that you are free to do that as well. So the punching bag is here. Welcome in, punching bag. Thanks for joining us. You came in just in time for the next prompt. So let's see what we got here. All right. So again, we're going to go deeper into the conversation about resources with this question. What do you currently have more than enough of? I think a lot of times when we feel like we are under a lot of pressure, we feel like we're lacking everything. But it's probably not true. If you take a real close look at the full picture of what's available to you, there might be some resources at your disposal that you just aren't tapping into. You might have an excess of one thing that can help compensate for what you feel like you're lacking. Sometimes if you feel like you're lacking time, you can compensate for a lack of time with an excess of attention. Sometimes things take longer than they take a long time because you're not fully present and fully focused and paying attention to it. So, so just kind of take a look. Britt says, I currently have a lot of unconditional love from my friends. I love that. So that's a really powerful piece, right? Especially if you feel like there are other relationships in your life that are not what you would want them to be, just to know that you do have other connections that can fill that role for you. Right now, Noble says positive energy. You have that and you're willing to share it with those who need it. I love it. So friends are coming over today so Britt can finally shower. It's like I can finally shower and have some time to myself. So Britt been able to take a shower. That's good for you, and that's good for everybody in your experience as well. That's a win for everybody. Designer B is in the house. Welcome in, Designer. This is another OG. Another sort of one of the original Morning Journal folks is here this morning. It's good to see you. Double says, that's another form of healing too. Taking a shower is a form of healing. Yeah, for sure. Oh man, yeah, taking a shower, it heals everything. Well, not everything. It heals some things though, for sure. So Sword Quest, Sam's Lo-Fi, Ace, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're talking about the things that we currently have more than enough of. We're thinking about the resources that we have available to bring to the challenges and the opportunities that sit before us. So what do you have more than enough of? Designer B says, it's been a while since I've been up this early. Yeah, I know we run kind of early around here, but you know. So Designer B says, I have more than enough furry children. So how many pets do you have? Are any of them listening right now? We have a pretty robust audience of pets and ESAs, and so you got 3 cats and a Chihuahua. Okay, so you got 4 cats. Oh man. I love that. So yeah, it's good to know. I think a lot of times we feel like we're lacking, or we don't keep in our awareness all the things that we have. Have you ever been to the store and bought stuff that you have already just because you didn't know it was there? So it's important to have an accurate inventory, so when you go out, you don't come back and you got 2 gallons of milk to deal with right now. Like, good luck. Now you in here involuntarily baking just because you don't want to have to throw that milk away. So it's good to know what you got. Just saying, good to know what you got. So another thing about the things that we have more than enough of, sometimes that is what we use, that is what we bring to the community, right? That's what we bring into like relationships and connections with other people. The things that we have in abundance, that is what we are bringing in service of other people. Because sometimes you can't shift the resources around by yourself. You can't get it done by yourself. Almost everything that you create is done in community of some sort. So it's a great opportunity for you, if you have an excess of a thing, to come into connection and community with other people so that you can achieve a shared goal. So you are good at this, or you have a grasp on this, and then they have a grasp on that. And all of a sudden, we've created something together that could not have been made by either of us alone. And I think sometimes we have this, I don't know, how would you say it? It's like we have a hesitance to really own those things about ourselves that are so unique and special, that could be of, benefit to others, or that can have a huge impact. We kind of take it for granted. But man, we need that. Somebody might need that, and let us know that's what you got. And in that way, we can kind of serve each other, right? We can build each other up. So Sword Quest is here. All right. We're talking about resources. All right. So Cyber Shot says, Granddad, everyone, I do that when you buy beer. I don't know which comment you were referring to. Sometimes you buy beer and you got beer. Cause Howard, man, let me go ahead and give me a little extra here. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next prompt. If we are ready, go ahead and drop a heart in the chat and we can most definitely get into that. I really appreciate everyone for listening in, tuning in, and being a part of the conversation. More importantly, a part of the community. All right, let's see what we got here. I told you we chilling today. All right. So now, when you we started, if you recall, we had the conversation. It kind of started with understanding where you are. That was our check-in. Where are you right now, and how does it feel to be there? We talked about how important it is to navigate from your current location. And in your location, you have these resources that are available to you. You might have some things that, are imbalanced. You have some needs, some things that have been underinvested in. And you have maybe some things that you have some extra, some excess. So from that position of understanding, having an accurate inventory of all your needs and all of the things that you have more than enough of, I know that we want to pursue goals. We want to apply these resources towards creating the life that we're looking for. A lot of times, though, it's important, and it's almost like a classic. It's like a classic trope in ancient dramas, in mythology. A lot of times there is sort of like this fatal flaw, or this thing that's we know is going to trip up the hero. We can see it. We can see it there in the beginning. And we know that, if you don't address this, you're going to get down the road and you're going to wish that you had addressed this, And sometimes I know it's the case for me, we don't necessarily have an awareness of like the things that are coming down the pike that can be a problem for us. So when we come up on some resources, a lot of times we won't address the threat. Instead, we'll just, ball out. It's like, okay, you come up on a block of free time that you didn't expect. And instead of spending that time doing something that is going to create some margin for you, it's like, oh, I got some free time. Let me get out the sticks. Or come across a few extra dollars. It's like, oh man, let me just go ahead on and, buy this extra thing. Because we haven't taken the time in looking at our environment to think about, okay, so what might be out there that I need to kind of guard against? Is there an imminent threat to your peace and happiness that maybe you need to assign some resources towards addressing? I mean, I think like once you get sick, it's like too late to like not have taken care of yourself. Once you get thirsty, it's kind of late to try to start digging a well because you're thirsty, and it's hard to dig a well when you're thirsty because you're already thirsty. So just having a little bit of forethought, a little bit of awareness, because there's going to be times when resources come to you. You're going to come up sometimes. You're going to win. You're going to have a little bit of a windfall, whether it's money or time. There's going to be some fortune. All your luck is not going to be bad all the time. You're going to strike some good luck, as Noble would say. So having an understanding of kind of the threats of the environment, maybe you want to allocate a little something to create some margin and space for yourself. Damien is here. What's up, Damien? Thanks for joining us. We're talking about the imminent threats to your peace and happiness. So Britt says, not enough free time to collect myself. Now just asking for help. So now my friends are coming in. So understanding that, understanding, recognizing that, if I don't get myself together, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to manage this by myself. I'm going to fall apart. So asking for help is important. So Noble says, my happiness and peace aren't threatened at this point. My positivity outplays my worries. I feel that. I will say, if you can see further, like when the skies are clear, when the coast is clear, if you choose to, you can take out the binoculars. And there might be something stirring out there. Not to worry, but just, an enhanced level of awareness. Just being strategic. I think the 24 is a great space to be tactical. But there's some things that unfold over time. So it's just a matter of strategy versus tactics, right? One of the interesting things, I'm currently watching and kind of keeping an eye on tennis. And I think there's a lot of great metaphors in the game of tennis that kind of fit this. Let me catch Tree says, when I find out tomorrow what the state of my body is, that's going to give you an indication. So you're just kind of waiting to see. So I want to talk a little bit about the game of tennis, just because it's what I've been watching. If you're just kind of watching it, you see people hitting the ball back and forth, of course, and trying to. Often when someone takes control of the point, you'll see they are pretty much standing still, and the other person is like running back and forth, right? And, they're placing the ball in such a way that it steals time away from the other person. They don't have any time to react. So I think that what happens to avoid that, you can't stop them from hitting a shot that they're perfectly positioned to hit. So you create margin 2 shots in advance to make it so that they can't get you on your back foot. So Emo is here. Welcome in, Emo. Thanks for being here this morning. We're looking at the threats to our peace and happiness. Sometimes, the best you can do is to get the ball back over the net, right? Sometimes all you could do, all right, I just got the racket on the ball and it's going back over, so the point is still going. But occasionally, if you can get there in time, you can steal time from your opponent by burying the shot in the corner. So now there's fewer ways that they can hurt you. And that's sort of, what looking at the imminent threat. So I know I got to stay away from this person's backhand. That's their best shot. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep all of my shots away from that backhand. And of course, they want to do the opposite. So that's like the maneuvering. You understand what the threats are based off your experience, because you know how you get down, right? You know how you do. So you can guard against the things. Your tendencies are often the imminent threats to your peace and happiness. Your habits and your patterns of behavior are a threat because you recognize the way that maybe you sabotage yourself. You say, I am my own worst enemy in this case. My tendency to do blank is an imminent threat to my peace and happiness. My tendency to procrastinate is a threat to my peace and happiness. Sweet is in the building. What's happening, fam? It's good to see you. All right, we are considering threats. So let's take a look. Let me see, what's the next prompt? Let me see where I'm going here. All right, let's get ready to go to the next prompt. If you're ready, go ahead and drop a heart in the chat and we can get into that. Thank you all so much for being here and for joining us. Sweet is back. She's like, I lost my situation here. All right, let's get into the next one. Okay. Here's the next prompt. Welcome in, Hanny. Thanks for joining us this morning. Here's a question for you. What are you overcomplicating? What are you overcomplicating? I feel like Sweet is having some technical difficulties. I hope you can still hear us. So, fun fact. Sometimes overcomplicating things is just it's an elaborate form of procrastination. So, what are some things that you might be overcomplicating right now? Britt says, my son's schedule, I feel like I'm making it way too difficult or overthinking it. It's okay. It says, I feel attacked. Oh man. Yeah. So what are you overcomplicated? Sweet says, I'm outside right now, so I gotta watch my 6. So yeah. I think a lot of times, I know I'm guilty of, expanding a task to I take things to the most elevated and sophisticated version of what I want to do, when just getting it done is way more than enough. Cherry Chew is here. Welcome in, Cherry. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're talking about things that we are overcomplicating. I think a big insight that I came across a couple days ago with regards to this is you don't get partial credit for what you don't finish. Like, it's not like you work on something that, needs to be out in the world before it can be used or appreciated by another person. You don't get credit for any of the work until it's out there. So all of the effort, it's cool. It's nice that you put in all that work, but it doesn't really mean anything until it's shipped. So Noble says, getting the center set completed in enough time due to the effects of an encounter that made me think twice about all of my skills. Okay. A lot of times it comes up right when you get ready to ship, right when you get ready to share your work with the world. A lot of times that's when, the self-doubt or the criticism or whatever pops up for you, the fear of it not being everything that it could be, that's when it pops up. And a lot of times when that self-doubt pops up, we address the self-doubt by rehashing, overcomplicating, Rube Goldberging it. Emma says, what jewelry to wear, apparently. That's what... Oh, it's so expensive in terms of time to have to do that every day. But it's your process, and I respect it. A lot of times, when we don't think something is good enough, or when we don't feel like we are good enough, we can compensate by convoluting things. Oh, man. So Tree overcomplicates driving over a bridge. It's like, man, I mean, what's going to happen on this bridge? Well, I mean, I guess the real question is, what are the odds and how big of a bridge is it? I don't know. I'm over here fake drinking water. I got a drop of water left in my glass on camera, and I'm trying to get this last little drop out, and it's not cute at all. Sucks. Y'all might have to pardon me for a second while I refill this cup. Oh man, give me a second, y'all. Y'all behave yourselves. Let me refill this water real quick. And I'm overcomplicating quenching my thirst, apparently. So, give me a sec. I know it sounds like I was making a cocktail. I promise I'm not. It's just water. Or at least it's clear like water. I guess you'll never know. Or you might know in about 20 minutes when my speech starts being impaired by it. But no, it's early in the morning. We're not doing that right now. All right. All right, let's get ready to go into our next prompt. If y'all are ready, go ahead and drop me a little something in the chat. So I'm curious right now where, Mo is in the chat right now, like really actually in the chat. So are you ready? Are you already up and at 'em? Are you like showered up and everything? Or are you just going to be super duper late? All right. Oh, Pony says the music is great. So this is, I'll let you know who it is. It's called Cambodia Rain. You can find most of these tracks on Spotify. Even though I'm using Epidemic Sound, you can usually find the artist on Spotify as well. All right. So here's the question. What have you recently talked yourself out of? What is something that you have recently talked yourself out of? I think a lot of times we instinctively kind of know. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of like doing the right thing, and sometimes we have to talk ourselves out of doing the wrong thing. We have our instincts that pop up, and we don't necessarily have to do the first thing that pops up into our mind to do. We can moderate those impulses and make them subject to what we value more. So Emma says, I recently talked myself out of calling in sick to sleep. So calling in sick to work to sleep. So you're like, so Emma's like, I'm sick right now. What's wrong? Sleep deprivation. I'm too sleep deprived to be around anybody right now. Britt says, I've talked myself out of arguing with people. He's like, nope, not going to do it. Not going to engage. There's no point. Opponent says, I talked myself out of quitting my job for a new one or going to trade school. So I don't know how to read that one. I don't know if you think it's a good idea. Well, I guess on some level you thought it was a good idea to quit or go back to school. In the context of your life and the things that are important to you, would you say? It would have been a good idea. So Mo, here's a little bit of advice from Richard over on Facebook. He says, why don't you just go to work and sleep? You go to work and sleep. I guess the problem is being a teacher is kind of hard to pull that one off. I mean, you just sit in the classroom all day showing videos with shades on. So everybody else is asleep in your class. You might as well sleep too. Riveting conversation, riveting instruction happening there. A lot of bad puns. Bad puns in foreign languages. They just cringe themselves to sleep. Noble says, not apologizing for something I feel is not requiring an apology. So you've talked yourself out of not apologizing, or did you talk yourself out of apologizing? I think I might have twisted myself up in there. Did you apologize or no? He says, no, I'm not going to apologize. I don't need to apologize. I'm going to stand on this. But Angel don't play no games, y'all. He's like, look, if I don't need to apologize, I'm not going to apologize to you. It's interesting, though. Sometimes there is a way, depending on what the relationship is, there are things that you do that are not wrong, that you don't need to apologize for the action or the choice that you made. But there might be some sort of restorative action that is required if the relationship means enough. You know? Every apology, every conversation that's restorative doesn't necessarily include an apology. But if the relationship matters, then you might want to have a conversation that restores or creates some sort of shared understanding of what happened. If a person feels injured by what you did in some way, if their feelings were injured, there's a misunderstanding. You have to decide whether or not it means enough for you to engage in some sort of restorative conversation that doesn't admit any wrongdoing, but just acknowledges, the other person's feelings. That might be valuable in some cases. So Sweet says, you talked yourself out of some R-rated material. So you talked yourself out of, I don't know, maybe pulling up, pushing up, hollering, spitting. So Warrior says, I haven't. So you have recently talked yourself out of quitting. I think quitting is a great thing to talk yourself out of, especially when you know the thing that you've committed to seeing through is something that is ultimately good for you. We often have to talk ourselves out of quitting because I think the desire to quit, it comes up often. So Sweet says, yeah, it wasn't the right time for me to make that particular move, so I talked myself out of it. That's good. That's called situational awareness. All right, I want to take a second here to just kind of give a bird's eye view of what the whole conversation is or has been so far today. We're talking about mapping resources. And, I think just being aware of everything that is that we have available to us, one of the things that we have as a resource is our experience. The things that we know based on the life that we've lived up to this point. We can invest the resource of our wisdom with regards to our personal situation to decide, despite what I might be feeling right now. Sometimes we mistake like our gut. We think that it's our gut or our instinct that is nudging us in a certain direction, when really it's not that at all. It's like, no, that's not your gut trying to guide you in the right way. That's a distraction. We got to stay the course. So Nevaeh Carpenter has joined us. Welcome in, Nevaeh. Thanks for joining us for this session of the Morning Journal. So yeah, mapping the resources. What do you have in terms of time, money, attention, faith, creativity, energy, connection? Getting a real clear picture of what you have and where you are. Locating yourself in space, locating yourself on the path that you have chosen, and then, using all of that information, using all of those sort of data points, if you want to call them that, and then also factoring in, that impulse that comes up. Don't let that impulse be the only thing that you use. You got all of these other things to take into consideration. But of course, in order to be able to do that, you have to have some margin. You have to have given yourself enough space and time to think and react and respond rather than react. Sometimes the reaction is just like a snap thing. You don't have time to think about it. And if you're always kind of under the gun, all you can ever make is a snap decision. You might not be operating in a space where you're taking all those things in consideration. So have a good idea of what resources you have available. Recognize that the resources don't all have to lie within you. They also exist in the community and the connections that you have. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to access the resources that are available in your community. It's kind of what it's there for. So Esso says, I've recently talked myself out of pursuing someone. It was getting emotionally expensive. Okay, I could dig that. It is. It has to be a value for you, a huge value for you. It has to be important for you to allocate all of the emotional resources and the time. It's like, is this important enough for me to do right now? Maybe it is. I think everybody's in a different space with regards to that, but it's definitely one worth thinking about. So Nesquik is here. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate you. Mighty Olson and Enigma, welcome in. So we have more than enough of more things than we realize. But the thing about it is I think we're kind of wired to notice what we're missing. And it makes a lot of sense because that's where the threat seems to come from. What you feel like you need that you don't have is what shows up as a threat to your happiness and your peace. So it makes sense that we notice those lacks, but it's also important to have a good picture of all the things that we do actually have. SOK says, when the trade isn't clear, it's kind of shady. I'm not going to invest. I'm just going to hold mine back. I'll just fall back on this one, fam. I'll sit this one out. So Steve is here from the Hold Up TV. Welcome in, Steve. What have you recently talked yourself out of? I got a pretty good idea what your answer is. Maybe every day it's the same thing. It's the same conversation going on in your head. And to talk yourself out of popping off. So I'm just going to undo all of this. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at this one. There's plenty of traders out there. The market is extensive. Yeah. Okay. Berlin is here from DT Dub TV. Thanks so much for joining us, Berlin. All right. So as Noble so often points out, no matter what the journey is, it is a kind of one day at a time deal. That's our zone of engagement. And that's a great measure of progress. We know we've taken the time to see what we have, what we're missing, where we are, hopefully having some clue where we need to go. So let's think about the things that we can do one day at a time to move us in that direction, to invest in the things that we have not been investing in. So one day at a time, I will. If you need a moment here while we are thinking about this one, just go ahead and, take a couple deep breaths. And, just kind of notice and appreciate the availability of your breath. You're alive. The availability of your breath as a point of focus for you. When you're feeling a little bit worse for wear. I mean, it's a deep breath is a transformational experience. So I invite you to take a few of those as you consider what you can do with today and one day at a time. So Noble Ancient says, one day at a time, I will continue to adventure in my 24, and the day's adventure will be positive. Emo says, one day at a time, I will continue to eat healthy and feel good about my health and appearance. So we got DJ Prodigy and Shanti. Thanks for joining us, folks. We're talking about the things that we can accomplish, the things that we can do, the growth that we can pursue one day at a time. What fills that blank for you? What can you put in that? Stony Buddy is here. Welcome in. I did have an opportunity to stop by Shanti's live. It was a lot of fun. It was supposed to be calm. It still ended up lit, but that's how it be sometime. Old Pony says, one day at a time, I will live life on life's terms. Living life on life's terms. I think that there is something of recognizing and appreciating the things that you have control over and having a level of acceptance for the things that you can't control. And by doing so, it creates a place where you can have some peace. So Ghostly Hollows is here. Jadi is here. Hey, good morning. It's nice to see you this morning. We on that one day at a time part, so think about the progress you make. You can make the growth you can seek, the connections you can build. So Jerry Chu says, I will process my grief over losing two very important people to me in less than a month span, and I will do that one day at a time. That's all we can do. Good morning. Good morning, Yolanda. It's been a while since I've seen you here. I hope that you're doing well. I appreciate you for joining us in this experience this morning. Right now, we're talking about what we can do one day at a time. Bill Cipher has joined us. Welcome in, Bill. Pain and grief and suffering of all types. We are resilient as people, but it takes time. And community and connection and all the other resources that we talked about before. Sweet says, I will stay on the path one day at a time. Bill Cipher says, this is a good place for me. Well, I'm glad that you found us, Bill. Thank you for being here. I like your profile pic. There's a lot of personality in there. I appreciate you. It's hard to believe it's already Thursday. Sweet says, Emma says, why isn't your purple showing up in the chat? I don't know. Sweet might have to leave and return. You might have to leave and come back to reveal your new outfit. So, Essa says, there is 10 hours of class ahead of me. Jadi says, one day at a time, I will achieve my dreams. One day at a time, I will achieve my dreams. Yeah, that's all that it takes. All it takes is one day at a time. All right. You've been tuned into session number 194 of the Morning Journal. And if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Whatever part of this conversation you have got so far, you can always catch up on what you missed on the replay if you are watching. If you're in the VIP right now, which is over on Spoon, just a quick note that we are also on YouTube and Facebook. And oh my goodness, Jadi, thank you so much for the spoons. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the love and support. It's beautiful. If you are listening on Spoon, you are in the VIP right now. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or wherever you might be catching this experience, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Now, in a couple minutes, we're going to wrap up the live stream on the video platforms, and we're going to spend just a few minutes together in the VIP with the other 19 beautiful souls that are here right now. I'll go ahead and drop a link just in case you want to catch the after party. We hang out till about 8 o'clock every morning, but we don't necessarily broadcast that to everyone for various reasons. But, you know, when the live stream ends on YouTube, and if you want to join us on the VIP, go ahead and do that. All right. Whispering Dawn, thank you so much. Bill Cypher says, yes, Spoon is the VIP. It is. It is. Just because you get, if you get like a few minutes before the stream starts, and you get, you know, maybe 15, 20 minutes after the stream ends, that we're just kind of hanging out in here together. So, yeah. So the party isn't quite over, even though we've kind of covered the conversation on the topic that we're going to talk about today. You know, it's not over, but I want to take a second to thank everyone for being here for session number 194. We do this every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. So Sharonty has to go to school. We look forward to seeing you again next time. I want to just do a real quick rundown and shout out all the VIPs in here right now. And maybe y'all will be inspired to join us over here one day. So here we go. We got Tree up in here. We got SOK up in here. We got Bill Cypher up in here. And Stony Buddy is up in here. We got Noble Ancient up in here. Alexis Autumn Elf is up in here. We got Old Pony up in here. Steve from the Hold Up TV. We got Cherry Chew up in here. We got Pandora up in here. Sweet Purpled up in here. And Warrior is up in here. Whispering Dawn is up in here. Divine Nesquick is up in here. And Chadi is up in here. I appreciate the support. You know it's clear. And Emma's up in here. Coming through, running late for sure. But still, I appreciate you. All right, Bill says, I used to be Foxy the Pirate. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Wham says, in case nobody has told you today, I'm here to tell you that you are beautiful and important. And that is true. And we will see you tomorrow morning for session number 195. We're 5 away from 200. We're still going to do something special for 200. So I don't know what. We're going to find out. All right. DJ Prodigy is going to be doing a throwback R&B mix over here on Spoon as well. So it's going to shape up to be a good day. And, you know, we'll see you next time.